financial statements prepared for Maraland Municipality. Maybe, Auditor, you can tell us why there were no audited reports for Maraland Municipality for 2023-2024.
Honorable Chair, the reasons that there were no audited reports for Maraland Municipality is due to non-submission of the financial statements as stipulated in the law.
So we are not going to proceed on Maraland because of lack of the audited report. Is that the case?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so honorable members will only deal with the two entities. That is Samburu Water and the Samburu Referral Hospital. But I think on the matter of non-submission of financial statements is a matter that this committee needs to pronounce itself to, because the law is very clear that financial statements must be submitted to the auditors so that the auditor can generate audited reports. That is very clear in law. I don't know who is CEC for finance. CEC for finance or chief officer for finance.
Okay, I'm director in charge of accounting department. I can represent the CEC for finance.
No, the chief. If the CEC is not there, the chief officer
is not also here.
You know, these are very important accounting officers who must attend sessions of Senate, because I'm sure the governor, you are not an accountant. So how will we proceed without CEC for finance and without CEC for finance is a head of treasury according to PFM and chief officer for finance? How are we going to proceed without them?
Chair, with your permission, if the director is able to respond, I think he is represented us in other sittings before.
Chair, I will allow you to make a comment on why the financial statements were not submitted. But the person who is directly responsible, and I want the legal officer to read out the provisions of the law in relation to the chief CEC finance, is the head of treasury. All matters of finance is accountable on all matters of finance. He should be the one to answer to the issue of why financial statements were not submitted for audit. But maybe let me allow Wakili Chimera to weigh. Senator Chimera?
No, Chair, I think mine has been overtaken because you've already perhaps given direction. I just wanted to understand why the CEC and the Chief Finance Officer are not here. But since you've already given direction, I will drop that line.
Chair, before he responds, I wanted to find out if the director you are giving opportunity to say something, is he a certified accountant? Is he a CBAK?
Yes, Chair.
You are an ISPAC member?
Yes.
What is your ISPAC number?
6711.
Senator Mbogwa?
Were taken by event, but I think it will be very difficult for this committee to proceed without the persons or the people who are by law supposed to be answering the relevant questions. It will be very difficult for this committee to interrogate this team.
Chair, also our team can check if he's in good standing with ISPAC.
Yeah, but you can check, but really the main issue here is the substantive matter like this one. Lack of submission of financial statement. It is the head of treasury who is the CEC finance who is directly responsible on that matter. And by the way, you know that is an offense not to submit financial statement. That is the weight of that matter. So that is why we say that the CEC finance or the chief officer should always accompany the governor to our meetings. If he's not there, then we become very much incapacitated as a committee.
Sure.
Maybe before I allow you in, Governor, you can say
For
something.
for the CC, unfortunately, our son, who is a football player in South Africa, and should have helped us because he's the head of finance, the head of treasury in Samburu is a good lady. He's got injured and he was hospitalized and is undergoing a surgery. And I think we had to excuse her to go see her son because, you know, the husband was not there too. So she's the only human being who could sign so that the boy could go into the theater. And that is why she's not here today. She always comes.
Chair, maybe just to weigh in. You know, ultimately, everything squarely falls on the governor by dint of the fact is the CEO of the county government. Chair, I also want to believe when these guys are coming to audit the entity, there are entry meetings and exit meetings. I don't know whether governor takes a keen interest in attending all those meetings. And secondly, by the time governor, you are leaving Maralal, Samburu to come to Nairobi with your team here, and I've seen it's a fairly huge team. Surely you must have sat as a team to go through your responses. The first thing we should have picked, Governor, is that your team has failed to submit financial statements in contravention to the law. What steps or measures have you taken? I mean, you can't even fail to come with the chief finance officer, and you know this is something that touches on issues compliance with the law. So, Chair, I just want to put all the efforts and the blame squarely on the governor. Chair, he cannot say CEC is not here. Of course, that is much justifiable. But governor needs to tell us why that happened in the first place and why he just chose to treat this committee with that kind of contempt that we don't deserve, Chair.
Usually when the CEC finance is not available, then the chief officer should be available. Because these are matters of finance, they are matters of accountability, and the two are directly involved in matters of accountability in the county. In fact, if you read section 197 of the PFM, it's very clear where the buck stops on matters of finance. So, Senator Legwe.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's already clear by the Office of the Auditor General that the financial statements were not submitted. The county failed to submit the financial statements, and it's clear in the law that they needed to submit those documents 3 months after the end of the financial year for audit, or to the audit to the county executive committee for subsequent submission to the Auditor General. That has failed, and we have been also informed by the Auditor General in this committee. This committee is well constituted, and I don't think there is any other reason to give the head of Treasury. I don't think there is any other reason why they can explain, or the reason they can explain to this committee why they have not submitted those documents. They are clearly in contravention of that section of the PFM Act, the Urban Cities Act, and the law in general. So there is no explanation that can justify non-submission of those documents.
Okay, I think the legal counsel, I want you to read the provisions of the law on the issue of non-submission of financial statements to the auditor.
Thank you, Chair and members. I will read for you Section 149 of the PFM Act, which is titled Responsibility of Accounting Officers Designated for County Entities. In subsection 1, an accounting officer is accountable to the county assembly for ensuring that the resources of the entity for which the officer is designated are used in a way that is A, lawful and authorized, and B, effective, efficient, economically, and transparent. Subsection 2, in carrying out a responsibility imposed by subsection 1, an accounting officer shall, in respect of the entity concerned, A, ensure that all expenditure made by the entity complies with subsection 1, B, ensure that the entity keeps financial and accounting records that comply with this act, C, ensure that all financial and accounting records that the entity keeps in any form, including electronic form, are adequately protected and backed up, D, ensure that all contracts entered into by the entity are lawful and are complied with, E, ensure that all applicable accounting procedures are followed when acquiring or disposing of goods and services, and that in the case of goods, adequate arrangements are made for their custody, safeguarding and maintenance. F, bring a matter to the attention of the county executive committee member responsible for the entity if, in the accounting officer's opinion, a decision of policy or proposed decision or policy of the entity may result in resources being used in a way that is contrary to subsection 1. G, prepare a strategic plan for the entity in conformity with the medium-term fiscal framework. H, prepare estimates of expenditure of the entity in conformity with the strategic plan referred to in paragraph G. I, submit the estimates of an entity which is not a county corporation to the county executive committee member for finance. J, submit the estimates of an entity which is a county corporation to the executive committee member responsible for the entity who after approving it shall forward to the county executive committee member for finance. K, which is important, not later than 3 months after the end of each financial year, prepare annual financial statements for the financial year and submit them to the Auditor General for audit with a copy to the county treasury. Then I'll go to the offenses, which is in subsection 3, not later than 3 months after the county assembly has adopted a report by the committee, the county assembly with respect to reports submitted by the control of budget and let me just do subsection 4, not later than 1 month after receiving a report by an accounting officer. Under subsection 3, the county treasury shall submit to the county assembly the accounting officer's report and any comments on the report by the county treasury.
You haven't talked about non-submission of financial statements.
Okay, Chair.
Yeah? Yeah, I mean, auditor, which provision of the law? You know, lawyers, you need to come to this committee prepared. Huh? You don't need, when we say read a particular provision, go to the specific provision. Lawyers, auditors, what is the provision in law on the issue of non-submission of documents?
Yeah, on this
Financial
specific issue, on non-submission financial statements for audit for Municipal of Maralal, the law that we quoted was section 46(2) of the Urban and Cities Act 2011, which states that within a period of 3 months after the end of each financial year, the board or town committee shall submit to the county executive committee its accounts for that year for transmission to the Auditor General. In addition, there is another section under the Public Audit Act.
Yes, that's under Public Audit Act.
Chair, with your permission, if I may paraphrase, that is Public Audit Act 2015, section 62 and 63, state that failure to submit financial statement by the end of the 3 months after year end shall attract as penalty of up to maximum of 2 million.
I really wanted that to be read out as indicated in the Public Audit Act, because I know there is an offense. Apart from a fine, there is an offense. It is an offense not to submit a financial statement for audit. Can you get that, please? Mark, you can proceed.
Yes,
Give
Chair.
us.
Section 62 of the Public Audit Act. A person shall not, shall not submit false or misleading information without justification, fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under this Act. So the submission of the financial statements, Chair, falls under that. And I can read the offenses. A person who contravenes subsection 1, we have read C and D, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or to both. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, so you hear, Governor, the fine of 5 million, option 1, imprisonment of 3 years, option 2, or both, option 3. And you know, this committee, when we sit as like a high court. Yeah, we have the powers to make a decision. But we are so disappointed that these being very crucial reports touching on financial matters, your two officers are not here. The CEC Finance and the Chief Officer Finance. So we have a matter to deal with on matters of water. Members have issues touching on the two officers. The matter of hospitals, members have issues touching on the two officers. So I don't know, members, how we will proceed without participation of these two officers who are supposed to be here even to guide the county government on these issues. So you can advise how we proceed.
Chair, I think we cannot proceed because the people who are answerable are not here to answer the questions that we have, or the questions arising, or give a reason why they did not surrender the audit statements from the municipal. Thank you.
Can I hear from another member of the committee before I allow?
Chair, maybe just to, in addition to what Mark has said, I've listened to the provisions in law, and they are not as punitive as what I've found in the PFM Act. Maybe I can read to Governor. And this is section 197 of that PFM Act. It says, a public officer employed by the national government or a national government entity commits an offense of financial misconduct if, without lawful authority, the officer fails to provide any information in the officer's possession or under the officer's control in relation to the financial management, financial performance, or banking activities of that government or entity. Shall be liable to an offense, and the offense is under 199, the penalties, upon conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years, or to a fine not exceeding 10 million shillings, or to both. So he is now getting to 10 million shillings.
Senator Mbogwa?
I'm not convicted, so that's theoretical.
Chair, you know, the Senate started its recess yesterday, and the members of this committee decided not to go and rest, to come here and prosecute their duties. Then we come here, and the county government of Samburu does not take the committee serious. So my position is that we should not proceed, and I think, Chair, you should pronounce yourself on this. This time around, these officers should act. They should be, whatever, should face the consequences, so that the country should know that we are serious, and they should see the consequences of not adhering to the rule.
Chair, I need to ask a question. And Chair, you know, some of us have taken the Senate to be some training for the future, now that I intend to be a governor of Kajiado in the very near future. Chair, I needed to ask, now that it's the governor who has taken the oath, and the governor is accompanied by officers that he believes are equipped enough to respond, and the ultimate person who will take responsibility is the governor. what does the law say when the governor has presented himself with a team? He's ready to respond to our queries. What does the law say if the governor feels equipped enough to respond to the audit queries? And he's the one who has taken the oath.
Chair, with your permission, I want to either answer or ride on what Senator Perry is saying. And it's true, Governor has taken oath, and in taking that oath, he has tabled specific documents, Chair.
Yes.
And those specific documents, Chair, are documents relating to statements or an audit report on the Samburu Hospital, and the other one I think is on the Water and Sanitation Company Limited. Those officers running these two entities, Chair, are present before us today. And what Governor has tabled is specific to those two entities. So, for in as much as he has not tabled documents relating to the municipality, where we feel the officers are not even here, I think, Chair, I'm constrained to allow Governor to proceed with us today because he has tabled the documents and those who offered the documents are present before us today. Thank you, Chair.
Let me listen to Senator Legwe.
Thank you, Chair. I think this committee is a committee that follows its own standing orders, and I want to inform the Chair that, or the members with the opinion that we need to not proceed, that we need to read every order or every agenda that we needed to interrogate before the committee today with the county executive. First, the reasons why we cannot proceed with the first item is because there is no report from the Office of the Auditor General, because statements were not submitted to the Auditor General for generation of the audit. So in that case, we cannot proceed. And in that case, we are not saying the reason why we are not proceeding is because there are officers who have not appeared before the committee. The governor is before the committee, and if we had that report, then we would have proceeded to interrogate as a committee. So the reason why we are not going with this committee, with this item, is because there is no report to consider, and that's already an offense by not submitting the document. Secondly, as a committee, we cannot just end our agenda before we read even the order. For example, we cannot say, we cannot consider the accounts of Samburu County Water and Sanitation Company even before we read that order. So we have to proceed and read that order, then find whether we are able to proceed according to our standing orders. And same to Samburu Referral Hospital. So, Chair, I propose, because I'm a member, a friend of this committee, we've already dispensed the other item, we cannot proceed. But on the other two items, we have to go and see, then if there are any other issues that may come up at that point, then we will proceed, or we will make the decision at that point. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I think we have been here for some time. I think myself and Senator Kisang, we are old members of this committee. The others are new members. And Governor, if you may recall, we have had, on many occasions that you have appeared, the meeting has never taken off because of challenges like this. And today we were really keen to proceed and not to send you away because we need to conclude the matter of water, which in two instances we have not looked at because of the challenges which have been there. The hospital, I know, is the first time. It is we are looking at it, but honorable members, I think we need to send a very clear message to the people the staff who work in finance, the CEC Finance and Chief Officer Finance. We send a strong message. They are the ones who lead the preparation of these responses. They are the ones who work with the auditors during the audit process. And the law is very clear that the chief CEC Finance is the head of treasury. The chief officer is the one who does day-to-day running of the finance function in the counties. So they cannot run away from this. They are the ones who are supposed to ensure the financial statements are prepared. They are taken to the auditor. The auditor conducts the audit. They are also members of the professional body ISPAC. And they know what ISPAC entails them to do. So when we have cases where an entity has not had financial statement for 3 financial years, then there is a problem. And especially municipality. The municipality has been receiving donor funds. The municipality has been receiving money from the county. We cannot have a scenario where there are no financial statements and therefore there are no audits, and that implies there is no accountability.
Yeah, could I say something?
No, just wait. I want now to give my direction as the chair. Yes. Just let me, yeah, proceed.
What our understanding up to now was that the municipality was audited. And we have queries here, about 2 that we've answered based on the audit report that was provided for by the auditors. So somehow the municipality was audited.
Just to correct you, the municipality was not audited as an entity.
Yeah,
it was the issues of municipality were audited as part of the executive financial statement.
And that's what I wanted to read here. Our reason here is that by the time of the audit, according to the reasons given based on the audit query, at the time of the audit, the municipality was not yet autonomous. It was still embedded within the Department of Lands under the county government of Samburu. So everything municipality was actually audited, but audited under the Department of Lands in Samburu County. So the question whether the auditing was done, yes. Whether it was done as an autonomous body, no. So everything municipality could be seen within the framework of the audit of the Department of Lands. I just wanted to say that. I don't know if that helps,
yeah.
But that is the situation when the auditing was carried.
Okay, the issue there is that once you give a charter to a municipality, then it becomes an entity which, according to the law, PFM, is supposed to have its own financial statements, which also means it should be autonomous. Once you get the charter, the Urban Areas and the Cities Act and the relevant provision of the PFM kicks in. So you see now the charter was given in, was it 2018?
January 2019.
2019. So 2019, we are now in 2023. So that is about 3 financial years. So that is where the problem is, Governor. That the accountants should have seen it fit as per the law to ensure that financial statements were prepared for this entity and not lump it together with the executive. That's where the problem is.
Yeah, with your permission again.
Yes.
The reason why we keep La Calculi very close to us, because it's one of the few remnants in the last government, and he has a lot of knowledge and information. Because 2019 I was not the governor. I am the governor now. So please, just if you can give a reason, because I also feel bad if we've not separated municipality with the Department of Lands. That's also, to me, doesn't, if that's what the law says. So maybe just allow him a minute to tell us whether there is any reason, however small, why a municipality was not audited independently. Because I agree with you, I feel sorry for that, that we have an issue of the same, because there will be no reason. We should just audit as per the law. So please allow me to...
Chair,
Governor, we...
Yeah, I just want to say something, and I don't know if you heard the governor say some of the staff who work with the county government as remnants. So we need to withdraw that from the record of this committee, because we don't consider any staff of our county as remnants. These are staff of the county government of Samburu. And governments are always in perpetuity.
I withdraw.
In which
governors withdrawn.
Chair.
Yeah,
Chair, I don't think we should allow governor's request for this gentleman to speak, because it is on record. He's clear himself saying that in his understanding the audit was done when the board was part of the executive. That is enough reason for us to know why they didn't submit financial statements. But then again, Governor, I will still blame you. You can't say these are 2019 issue. Last time I met you, Governor, you had 2 lawyers with you. You had a legal advisor and you had a county attorney. People I have interacted with, very competent fellas. Either you're not seeking legal advice from them or you don't want to be advised by them, Governor. You cannot say from 2019 up to date, you have not, and it is in your words that you said the board is not autonomous. Yet there is a law and you have 2 lawyers working for you, Governor. Is it that you are contemptuously not seeking legal advice, Governor? Or you don't want to be advised, or you refuse to be advised intentionally, Governor?
Yes.
I respect every profession. If you look at the people I have as my CCs, just to give us an example, to clear something here, all of them actually represent their professions. If you look at the guy sitting here, this guy is a surgeon. He's a CC for health. His CEO is a doctor. He's the person running the referral office is also a doctor. The person, I have lawyers who I trust, but I'm not a lawyer myself. So I want to...
And that's why we are trying to protect you, because, let me tell you, Governor, if we proceed to examine these reports, then you will be forced to answer very technical questions, which I don't think you are prepared to do that.
Because the accountant is telling me he can read this. They have actually handed this report after the audit, so whether that helps.
Okay. Now I want to give direction.
He has the reports now.
I want to give directions here. Honorable members, there is the issue of Maralal Municipality, which has no financial statements, and that is an offense. And this offense cannot go unpunished. It cannot go unpunished. For 3 financial years, no report at all. And we have accountants who are being paid by the county. The CEC Finance and the Chief Officer Finance. I think we will retreat as a committee and take action on the 2, based on the Public Audit Act that has been read. And you know the options are a fine of how many million? Yeah, and then imprisonment or both. And accountants, we want you to take your work very seriously, because you are professionals, you are answerable to your professional body, ISPAC, in terms of maintaining standards, and we cannot continue allowing this to happen. You need to support your county government, you need to support your governor on this. And even county attorney. County attorney, you must be alive. Is the county attorney here?
No, she's not here today.
Yeah. Key people. County attorney is the one who advises on such legal matters. Should always be in this meeting. So I think we will proceed with the water and the hospitals, but we will certainly give the way forward on Maralal Hospital. And you know, soon we are going to Maralal Municipality. And maybe the auditor, you can tell us, have they submitted financial statement for 2024, 2025?
Honorable Chair, yes, they submitted the financial statements for the financial year 2023-2024 on the 3rd of March 2025.
Chair, you should note that's also...
That the outside the
timelines, yes.
The timelines.
Yeah, late submission is also contained in the paragraph that I read, section 62.
Yeah, so late submission is a problem. There is non-submission at all, and then there is late submission. So anyway, we will make a decision on Maralal Hospital and any municipality, but let's proceed with we start with the hospital. So Auditor, I think you need to proceed the way we had agreed in the pre-meeting. We start with the hospital.
Yes. Chair, we are here to present and read the issues for Samburu County Teaching and Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2024. We did audit the financial statement presented, and we issued a qualified opinion. And Chair, with your permission, during the briefing, we had agreed that we'll look at specific issues.
Yes, proceed with those issues.
Thank you. So the first issue, which is number 2 on my qualified opinion, paragraph 2, which is anomalies in the rendering of service, medical service income. So as reported previously, the statement of financial performance reflects an amount of Kenya shillings 53,001,286 in respect of rendering of services, medical services income, NHIF, as disclosed in Note 11 to the financial statements. The amount includes Kenya shillings 22,028,106 and Kenya shillings 29,960,200 and Kenya shillings 1,014,980 in respect of NHIF capitation received, NHIF inpatient claims received, and facility improvement financial collections, respectively. Review of records revealed that management only recognized the actual amount received from NHIF instead of recognizing the amounts invoiced to NHIF clients for services rendered. No explanation was provided by management for failure to comply with the accrual basis of accounting, which requires revenue to be recognized when earned rather than when received. The circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of rendering of services, medical services income of Kenya shillings 53,001,286 could not be confirmed.
Governor, your management response?
I will ask the CC for Health to respond.
CC, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, the actual concept of accounting recommends that transactions being recorded in the period they occur, regardless of when the actual cash flows are received or paid out. On the other hand, the principle of prudence or conservatism is the practice of ensuring that the agency does not overvalue its assets or income, are not overstated in the books. Both concepts are acceptable and used in the generating reports. Due to the uncertainties, delays, and inconsistency experienced in NHIF payment, invoice amounts are often revised down, or are dishonored altogether. Management was of view that actual cash received be recorded in compliance with the prudence principle. However, at the advice of the auditor, going forward, we are going to change the revenue recognition, and we will be capturing the invoice revenue and not the received amount to avoid underestimate of our revenue.
Auditor, your comments on that response?
Our comment is it's as 9, revenue from exchange transactions requires revenue to be recognized when services have been rendered and can be reliably measured. So by the time an invoice has been issued, then these conditions have been met. So then that means because of this, the revenue were understated. So issue was not adequately addressed.
Mark, what's your comment?
Chair, in fact, The response as given does not respond to what we expected as has been read out by the auditor. So, Chair, I think they have indicated they will review going forward, but the fact remains that that was an error at that time. That confirmation can only be done as you review the 24-25 financial statements, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, honorable members, your comments. This is very clear that the NHIF claims were received, but the corresponding invoices were missing. So I don't think this even your response, CEC for Health, is does not address the real issue here. The real issue is that they wanted the corresponding invoices to NHIF be shown, so that you don't just say we have received this amount of money, but what did you claim? Where are your invoices to NHIF? In fact, you should have attached those invoices here. They are not attached. Honorable members, comments? Now, these are some of the issues that why we were insisting we need CEC Finance and Chief Officer Finance. And there are so many instances like this in the responses. Members? Comment, question?
But when you have a CEO for health here, who is an accounting officer for health,
yeah,
doesn't it suffice as CFO? Because I think the one who is the one who invoices and does all those things. We have the CEO who is an accounting officer for health.
Yeah, he's an accounting officer, but you see now this guy, the explanation that is being given here, they are talking about issues of accrual. Accrual, principles of prudency, and you have heard what the auditors have said, that they needed to apply some standard, accounting standard on this, which was not applied. So this accrual thing or principle of prudency does not apply here. It is just an application of a specific standard in the Public Accounting Standards Board requirements. We have someone from Treasury here. I would like him to make a comment on this response.
Thank you, Chair. I think the audit had specified specifically on the public sector accounting standards, and these are the standards which are supposed to be used by the government entities. So we recommend that those standards are supposed to be used, of course, for uniformity and other necessary measures that are supposed to be to ease the administration of these entities. And the Chair, we have trained so many staff in counties, and I recently participated in one of them, and we had so many staff from counties. So I don't know whether the governor has been inviting some of these staff, because we are now training staff on the accrual, because as it is now, we have given transformational period, transition period of 3 years. And this accrual started from 1st July 2024, and it is going up to 30th June 2027. Of course, these issues of assets which has been there for so long, which are not captured in the asset register. And we had all those stuff from assets management, financial reporting, and so, Chair, I think we go by the standards. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, my concern is because so many other counties have come before this committee, is there a unique challenge in Samburu that they cannot keep to compliance in accounting standards?
You have raised a very important question, and that's why initially we were struggling with the issue of the absence of the CEC for Finance and Chief Officer on this matter, because every county, as the Treasury expert has said, must comply with the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board requirements. Yeah. So when you read through this, you don't see that in the picture. So if they were here, we would give them specific direction, but we will still give them interim recommendation on the need to comply to the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board requirements. So, honorable members, I think we will note that this query is not resolved. It's remaining hanging. We will now move to the next query.
Honorable Chair, the next issue is non-disclosure of property, plant and equipment. As previously reported, the statement of financial position and as disclosed in note 31 to the financial statements reflects property, plant and equipment balance of 2.4 million. However, review of records revealed that the hospital had various assets of undetermined value, which included land, buildings, furniture, computers, and equipment. However, the assets were not disclosed in the financial statements. Further, ownership documents for the land were not provided for audit. In the circumstances, the accuracy, completeness, and valuation of property, plant, and equipment could not be confirmed. We had agreed that we combine that issue with the next issue, that is unsupported inventories balance. As previously reported, the statement of financial position reflects a nil balance for inventories, while note 30 to the financial statements reflects an amount of 2.7 million in respect to inventories. Further, the stock taking report to confirm the hospital carried out stock taking exercise was not provided for audit review, contrary to section 162(2) of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act 2015, which states that the head of procurement function shall arrange for occasional visits of inspection to the stores at least quarterly in each calendar year and conduct quarterly and annual inventory stock taking in order to ensure
it is safe because we fenced all of our lands. But on whether it is, I think the problem here is the title deed. But I'm sure all our dispensaries, all our hospitals, they're all fenced, and I'm sure if there is any encroachments, nothing has been reported yet. We have so much land even for the hospital that a few months ago we provided the Kenya Medical College with part of our hospital land so they can put up a college. We have enough, and it's all fenced.
Chair, Governor, you know, from your responses, you are treating this query and this question from my two colleagues in a very casual manner, Governor. When the senator says how safe the land is, he doesn't necessarily refer to physical safety. And that's why you have a whole department, and Waziri for Lands is here. When you have crucial government institutions like hospitals, that you have land that you cannot secure in terms of records, the first thing you need to do as a CEC, and I'm speaking to the CEC, is to try and come up with measures towards, you know, recording that particular asset. And I'm speaking about measures aimed at titling that particular. It doesn't cost you so much. I mean, if it's 10 acres you have, putting funds to title that area is very simple. You don't have to do it as an entire county operation. And you've been in power for the last 3 years. I mean, you're in office for the last 3 years. And that means you casually just look at these properties and you don't want to even secure it. So when Lelego is asking about how safe it is, he's not referring to issues of fencing and physical safety. He's referring to records. How safe? Because there are many people out there who are unscrupulous, who can get a title on your land, take a loan, and you don't even know. Take a loan against it, you just see auctioneers coming to auction your ICU center, for instance. So Governor, please don't be casual with these responses. No?
Senator, I agree with you. I can't be casual, and I will never be. But all what we can provide to secure land as a county, I think all our lands have allotment letters, and the CC for lands can confirm that. So, I think I would like him to explain why we don't, because I think there is something bigger than what we have here in terms of.
Okay, thank you, Chair. For the land, like Maralal Referral Hospital, and many parcels within Maralal Municipality, we have done planning and survey, and have been issued allotment letters. That is how far we are in terms of securing tender for public and private parcels within Maralal Municipality. Thank you.
Yeah, I really, now that accountants, really wanted to speak, your answer to this query on non-disclosure of property, plant and equipment was that you were using cash basis of accounting, and that's why you did not recognize the property, plant and equipment. Then how did the auditor come up with this figure of 2,496,000? Where did it come from?
Chair, this was basically expenses incurred in repairs, which was misconstrued into purchase of assets. It wasn't actual purchase of assets. And if I take you back to the financial statements that were audited, note number 31 does not include that figure of 2.4 million. And the same applies to the following query on unsupported inventories balance. Note number 30 on page 38 for the financials is also not included. So these two queries.
Have you looked at your schedule of property, plant and equipment on page 39? It is empty.
Yes, but where did the auditor get the figure to report on and say note number 31 includes 2.4 million? You see, so these two queries ought not to have been there even in the first place.
Because auditor?
Chair, the initial financial statements that had been submitted had those two figures. They had purchased some assets in the year, and they were they were to disclose. They had actually disclosed them under that note 31, but they had not been captured under the balance sheet, which is a statement of financial position. But the fact is, in the course of the year, during the course of our audit, we established that they had various assets in their possession, but the one they did not have that asset register to, they had not been captured in the financial statement. The same applies to the issue of inventory. They had both pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceutical inventory in the course of the year, but they had not been captured in the financial statements, and they did not have figures for those items.
I think we need to make progress, honorable members. Again, these two queries are not resolved.
Chair, with your permission,
yes.
I have listened keenly to the responses from the entity, and not to cast aspersions on the ability to respond effectively before this committee, and not to doubt the competence of the skill set chair. But I feel, Chair, as a committee, perhaps with the indulgence, of course, if we can take 5 minutes to retreat in camera and caucus on a best way forward, Chair. Because I've just looked and thinking ahead, I've looked at the other queries, especially on the company. I've seen there's no board and all those things, and I don't know if those who are before us are able to properly answer these questions. Maybe if members permit, and through your guidance, Chair, if we can retreat as a committee, including our friend here, the Senator for for Samburu, we just caucus amongst ourselves on the best way forward. Then we can communicate to the entity on how best we wish to proceed as a committee chair with the lot of humility, chair.
Honorable members, you know, when I was commenting on earlier, I said that we have had problems in the past where we have had to send the team from Samburu away on 2 occasions because of insufficiency of responses. We do not want to do that today because it looks like this problem will go on and on and on. It is good that members now you are appreciating the matter at hand. I would wish that we go through it even with the insufficient responses that we have, and we will retreat as a committee at the point of report writing to decide the way forward. I understand your concern, because even the next query we are going to, which is talking about the budget, if you read the responses, you don't get anything at all. It is questioning about lack of an approved budget. The receipts and the payments are different figures, so the budget is not balancing. But the response that has been given here is talking about we will be having, it is futuristic. We would be having approved budgets of the hospital during our quarterly meetings. It is also talking about the future, basically. The answers to these queries have been done futuristically, which is not helping this committee at all. But I want you to appreciate so that we make a decision at the point of report writing on the way forward, because we cannot keep on sending them away for inadequate responses. This would be the 3rd time we are doing that. And the people of Samburu want accountability. So I would request members that, yes, I also appreciate your concern, and that's why initially we wanted these 2 officers to be here, and they're not here. So I would suggest that because we are going to the last query on the hospital, we do it, then we check the water, and then members, the ball is in your court to decide what to do with this kind of responses and what action to take.
Well guided, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Auditor, let's go to the query on lack of an approved budget.
Thank you, Chair. The next issue is lack of an approved budget. As previously reported, the statement of financial performance reflects total receipts and payments for the year of Kenya shillings 53 million and 53.4 million respectively. However, no supporting documents were availed for audit to show the annual estimates relating to the year under review were prepared and approved by the Hospital's Management Committee. This is contrary to Section 10B of Samburu County Health Services Act 2018, which requires the board to be responsible for approving estimates before submission to the executive member of health. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your management response? CC file.
Mr. Chair, previously the Hospital Management Board have been discussing and approving the budget for the hospital during their quarterly meetings. However, going forward, the hospital management, this is supposed to be the hospital management team, will prepare and approving their annual budget. Provided in Annex 1 are copies of the quarterly approved minutes with budget for the year under review.
Bwana CEC, I don't know whether you can, you understand what you have read to us. Did you prepare these responses yourself, or someone else prepared?
Chair, we prepared as a team of the department.
You see, let me take you through your responses. First of all, you are addressing Mr. Chair. You are supposed to address the committee. Previously, the Hospital Management Board have been discussing and approving the budgets for the hospital during their quarterly meeting. Yeah? They have been discussing and approving budgets. However, going forward, the Hospital Management Board will be preparing and approving annual budget. So what are you saying? You have been doing, and then you are saying going forward you will be doing it. So you have, first of all, it is confusing, it's contradictory, and it's not responding to the issue. The issue here is the budget is showing receipts of 53 million and 3,286 and payments of 53 million 476,629. There is a difference. So the budget is not balancing. So you are being asked on why your budget is not balancing. Then the response you are giving is totally incoherent with the query. So that's why I was asking you, did you really prepare these responses? Or someone else prepared the responses you have just come to read?
Actually, the responses were prepared by the accountants.
But you had told us that you prepared the responses.
Yeah, we went through as a team. And just maybe, Mr. Chair, for the...
And you could not see the gaps in your responses?
Hey, Chair, I think, okay, I stepped out, sorry, I stepped out, I had some visitors. You know, you've noted that, you know, all these are futuristic. Maybe some simple or silly question that I want to ask the governor. I was with him for 5 years, and they know very well, even the national budget is always read once, and it's done in June. So I don't know where budgets are done quarterly. I don't know if the CEC was just read this. Today do also quarterly budgets for the executive. I mean, this is competence issue, Chair. Serious competence issue, Chair. If I was the chair, I would have sent them away.
Chair. We're just discussing out with my colleague here.
You brought up that issue, and I am reluctant to...
No, it's not that issue, Chair.
Yeah.
We don't have to necessarily say that you're sending them away, Chair. You know, we can always adopt their responses as they are. And as we retreat to do our report, we make our recommendations in that report, Chair. We don't have to listen to this, Chair. We can adopt their responses as they furnished us. And we say goodbye, we see in Maralal, and we can do our report, Chair.
Okay, Chair, is second also. Okay, we can finish this one, but for the next entity, Chair, we just get the written submissions, and when we retreat, we do our report. Otherwise, we are repeating, because it is, and they are very shallow. If you check the responses, it's never, they have not put any thought professionally.
Members,
Chair, I think I had the officer from National Treasury indicate that they do a lot of capacity building of county officers. Me, I would request, because the governor has come with a team that he expects to respond adequately to the issues. So, Chair, I would only request that as a committee we advise that these officers are taken through some training, because surely we are treated to the same shallow and futuristic and all these kind of responses. Do we sit here for a whole day or half a day and continue complaining on how the responses are? Let them be trained.
I think the governor told you that he has a very highly qualified people.
Chairman, even if I didn't have a qualified team,
yes.
And I'm sorry that I'm on your side on this, why would somebody not realize what is they're being asked here? And I'm sorry that I'm not saying this. Because the difference here is about 400,000 of what you've collected and what you've reported. You actually report saying you've used more. So because I have the CEO for health here, who is in charge of this hospital, I think he's better equipped to tell us, even verbally, why, because I have officers, and I don't think you require any training to know the difference between 53 million and 3 shillings, and 3,000 shillings, and the difference between 53 million and 400,000 shillings. It doesn't really require any training. So, and I want to appreciate the issue of training. But I said before, we have competent officers all over. Everybody here, at least in the accounting department, is a CPA. They have, of course. but I want to put my CEO, who is in charge of referral hospital, in front of this committee to tell us why this response is. If you agree.
Senator Lelelit.
Chair, clearly from the submissions by the county executive, at the time of their response to the management letter from the auditors, they were not ready. Even now, when they are submitting their response to the committee, they are not ready, or they are not sure what they are responding to. I don't know why an officer responding to the auditor could say that we are going to do that in the next financial year without responding to the substantial question or substantive question from the auditor. From clearly from their responses, they are going away from, or they are refusing to respond to the auditor's questions. They are only giving us hope that in the next financial year, in their next report, they are going to correct. So clearly they are admitting liability of what is contained in the auditor's report.
So honorable members, let me allow the gentleman there to respond to this, and then, honorable members, the next report we are going to is even worse.
Yeah.
Because let me give you an example. There is a query here on inaccuracies in financial statement, and the answer is, Mr. Chairman, we have noted the concerns raised on the need to provide accurate financial statement. We have since corrected these, and then you go to another one, and supported refundable deposits and repayment. Mr. Chair, the concern is noted. You see, Governor, how watu wamekuangusha?
Yeah, I'm not trying to excuse that, but somehow, over time, since I became governor, because I knew nothing about this stuff before, I've sat with these auditors, and I want the auditors to listen to me. And every time I sit with auditors, and they want to help some of us respond to this, or we want to understand their questions. When we want to understand questions, what they say is unlike what Senator Samburu is saying. They don't say liability, but they say when the auditors picked something of inaccuracies, and there's really nothing you can do about it, you agree that it was inaccurate. And that it's different from liability though, but you own up in English, you own up. So what auditors tell us, unless they're also misleading us, because I've sat with them before, when you have something that is inaccurately reported, you own up. So I think unless we are guided by somebody else other than the auditors, just allow me to finish. The auditors will respond. And I also had something about the auditors that I wanted to say a little bit. So they tell us to own up, and that is why the statements tend to own up on something that was inaccurate, and also refer that in future, when you own up, can I finish, Senator? When you own up something as a human being, the next set of action is you own up and provide that you will change in future. I think that is so human. That thing I wanted to say from the accountant, and I think Chairman is skipped that, Kidogo, my accountant guy here said something that some of the things should not have been in the audit query, and I think we left that. Maybe there are also gaps somewhere when you provide reports and yeah.
Chair, I think you need to give the auditor to clarify this.
No, I don't need to, because...
Please, Chair.
I don't need to, because the audit is a process.
They are ready to say something about that.
It's a process, a very detailed process, where if the county had issues they should have raised those issues during the audit process. We do not want to start now coming here and saying,
Chair, then what is the difference between owning up and a liability and accepting a liability?
You can say something.
Honorable Chair, I wanted to clarify on the issue of owning up. We normally give them 2 times to revise the financial statements, and every time there is an inaccuracy in the financial statements, the recommendation is always one. You reconcile those variances so that you can come with the correct figures. We don't advise them to own up. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Governor,
yeah. Putting on something that I can 100% sure say I was told to do. So, being the governor, they tell you own up and say, auditor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes. And I think on the same, and I want the same auditor to confirm that those inaccuracies were addressed, and that's why we didn't look at query number 1 and 2 because they were already addressed. I want maybe him to confirm that.
You are completely out of order.
Mr. Chair, I think our understanding in this point was on.
Don't argue with the chair.
Okay.
There is a query. You have been told to respond to the query. Give your facts in that query. Don't say it was addressed. How was it addressed? It is only addressed after you have responded to the query and the committee thinks that the matter is satisfactorily addressed. You cannot, for example, you are referring to that query on inaccuracies. Look at your answer. Your answer is, Mr. Chairman, we have noted the concerns raised on the need to provide accurate financial statement. We have since corrected this. That's not enough. You document all the facts answering the query, and then the committee will look at it and say, yes, this has answered the query. You cannot just put one sentence response and say you have responded to everything. Auditors.
Chairman, before the auditors, can I ask, please, my CEO should be able, and I'm sorry to say this, should be able, even orally, to provide us with some answer, and understand totally what you're saying, of the variance between 53, blah, blah, 3 million, and then orally, just for the benefit of the committee, and for the comfort of the committee, even if you didn't provide this a report, at least someone can walk out here knowing that the 400,000 difference was not reported or recorded, but it is from somewhere. Just for the comfort of the committee.
Chair, I wanted to say before Samburu Governor says, I know the accountant who has just spoken, I hope he knows the audit process. You know, audit is a process, it's not an event. And when you own up, even the way the governor said, the auditor said you own up, you own up and then at the same time you rectify, because I expect that when you own up, before even coming to this committee, you will say we have done 1, 2, 3, and what we cannot do now, in the next audit cycle, we will sort it out. That is what should come in your response. But the response is just a line or 2 lines. So I think that is what is lacking, Chair. And then number 2, Chair, is, we should not make the meeting to look like, the county and the auditors, are coming to have conflict in the committee. We should not allow that, Chair. And then number 3, Chair, let me finish. Then number 3, Chair, because we have seen, this is the last audit query on the hospital, well, maybe then the governor needs to, because you have been told even the next report is not really very good. As a gentleman, and you'll work very closely with this team, you would even request more time to say, please, Chair, because of these issues, and because of some capacity, which you're saying you have competent, but there is an issue, of course, not 100% competent, you would request and say, give me more time to go and sort out these issues. When you're auditing 2024-25, then basically you will come up with a better report instead of again coming next year with the similar report. You can ask for more time to clean this thing and yeah.
Chair, in the interest of time, I had moved I will call it a small motion. I had moved a motion before you, and I had a seconder in the name of Senator Kisang. Perhaps, Chair, you can give a ruling and directions to that particular request I had made before you, Chair, on whether we can adopt the responses.
Okay, there is a comment he has made. He has said that we can give the county the option to go and rework out these responses and submit appropriate responses to the committee. The second option is for us to proceed and do a report based on what has been submitted to us. But what has been submitted to us is not sufficient, which means we will eventually end up adopting the auditor's query, which may not be in your favor. Because where we don't have a good response, we adopt what the auditor has said. So maybe, Governor, you can help us on this. Okay. Two options. One, sure, we proceed with these responses as they are, and we make our decision, our report, or we give you more time to go and do it.
Thank you, Chair.
Do it rightly.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for giving me those two options. And I will take the option of going back and correcting some of these things. But I will ask you that we can submit them without coming back here. We can submit to your clerk the correct, the correct information. Because I would imagine, honestly, if my CEO for health here sits for 2 seconds and looks at 53, the difference between the 253 millions, which is about 400,000, he can easily provide the reason why there is a difference. So, Chair, with that simple example, I would ask you through you to give us time so that we can correct these documents and provide to your office, to your clerk, to this committee, and to the auditors, some sort of updated document
to the auditor
for the obvious, because of the very obvious things here that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We will allow you to go and work on the responses afresh and present them to the auditor. The auditor will present them to us. The decision as to whether we will adopt the written responses or call you here again will be determined by your responses, your own responses. If we feel the responses are adequate, we will not invite you here. But if we feel the responses need some clarification, then again we will invite you here to come. But Governor, I want you to organize your team. We have the county attorney. He has a responsibility. Yeah, she has a responsibility on matters of legal issues around. You have seen we have been referring to legal issues. Then you have your chief officer and your CEC finance. They need to take the lead in this process of one, the audit process. When the auditors are on the ground, the person who should take keen interest should be the CEC finance. Then the chief officer finance should also be there, because we cannot have this kind of responses if the two were very serious with their work. And they are embarrassing you for nothing, Governor. So sit down with them, make them understand that this exercise we are doing is not in futility. This exercise is in law, and this exercise is for the good of people of Samburu and Kenyans generally. So we will allow you to go with that option. And how much time do you need to reprocess these responses?
Sure, I think 2 weeks is enough.
2 weeks?
Not enough. I don't think.
It's
also good, Governor, to ask for adequate time, because when you're done with the report, it means the auditors will verify and check before they're submitted to us. So if you ask for 2 weeks, it will still be shallow. So that's for good time.
Maybe the governor can allow his technical people to be the ones to ask for time, because they are the ones who are going to deal with the documents. Yeah? So it should be the technical people to say how much time they need.
All they
yeah.
need. Yeah, Senator Mudama, what is it?
Yeah, because Chair, even at on the water issues, the board you've not gazetted, so it's not in place. So that time is not enough. Two, on the customer deposits, you don't have an account for it in the water. You put it in the same pool with the other monies, and so the customer deposit account, the money has been used, which there is a law for it. It should never be used. If you borrow it to use, you borrow only 5%, which you also repay within 1 year. And now for that time, I'm sure you've used all the deposits and there is no law. So I think it should also be read for that law, so that as they go and come back, they come with clear report of everything. So 2 weeks is not enough for you, Governor. Sure. And don't defend your people. Let them work. You've employed them to work.
I stand guided, and I was not defending them. In fact, I needed your help when I said the CEO should answer the most basic question. What's the difference between the 400,000, just orally? And that's
and Chair, you see,
I'm not defending them at all.
You see, nobody understood me when I said the government should go back and come with a clean report, because we had gone through all of them and I saw they were in a mess, and that is why I was saying you go.
Okay.
Chair.
Members, okay, you,
I'm not.
Senator
Please.
Amida, and then we finish with Senator Bogwa, and lastly Senator Lelegwe, and then we will close.
Chair, I'm just wondering, the incompetence that and the challenges that governor is facing, whom is he going to rework with? Are they the same staff that are incompetent? That's a question mark. How do you do it again? Because it is so obvious that they are lazy, they are incompetent, and they're shallow actually with their work. And this is they have come to embarrass you, Governor. This is quite embarrassing. So I'm wondering, is it the same team that you're going to work with? I mean, then maybe you might need, I'll say it boldly, you need a better team. Maybe it's not the same team that you should work with for now.
Senator Mbogwa?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe, Governor, I would want maybe your Chief Officer for Health to tell this committee whether he is aware of the Facilities Improvement Financing Act of 2023 and how far the County of Samburu has gone ahead to implement it.
I think, members, we are now going into the queries now, yes, which we have said, we are now going into queries which we have said that they respond to. So we are restarting the meeting again. I know FIF is another problem there. You will, in your responses, you will tell us more about it. Senator Lelegwe?
Chair, I agree with the motion moved by Senator Chimera and seconded by Senator Folgei Marakwet that we need to adjourn and give the county government enough time to give this committee appropriate responses, because as far as we are concerned, or what we have received or consumed in this committee is that we cannot admit those reports as a committee, and if we admit, then it will be adverse on them. Secondly, I'm not sure whether we have gone to the last report, the report of the Samburu Water and Sanitation Company. I don't know if we've handled that report. When we make decision on this, for them to go and bring us recommendations or a better report, then we proceed to that.
I'm not understanding. Which report are you referring to? Which year?
Water.
Water for which year?
The current report we have before the committee.
Yes, that's why.
Are we there?
That's why we have ruled that you will bring fresh responses.
For all the reports before the committee today?
All the reports before us.
No.
Because you remember I read some portions of that response, and I said even the water has a lot of issues which are not properly responded to. So they are going to bring responses for water and for the hospital. The two reports.
Including the board is not in place.
That's
and Sanitation Company Board, and they have worked for several years, and they have been drawing.
them to go and it is also a query in the water report. So I would suggest that since we have allowed them to go and redo their responses, let us handle it at that point when they be coming. You want to say something?
Something little.
Okay.
From the auditors themselves, they noted in their report that the due process was followed in terms of recruiting of board members. Report. It's not mine. So due process was there. Madam Senator, I appreciate all the things.
Gazetted?
That's what I'm getting. And I'm sorry to say this, I didn't know personally that you need to gazette these people. And I have to admit that in all honesty.
Now, stop there,
Let me
Governor.
just say something.
Governor,
The person,
stop
but
there.
when I read, I learned that the person who is supposed to gazette is the CC who is sitting here today, the CC forward. And after getting the report, who gazettes is the CC. It's not me. You know, you can, Governor, you cannot
Give me a minute.
Governor,
Give me a minute.
we have gazetted everything in Samburu, including health centers. I didn't know that this water board.
Governor, you are the CEO.
Governor, just confirm whether they were sewn in.
Members,
or not,
Governor.
On what basis? I don't know.
Governor, you cannot
But it
say
has
that.
said here that due process was followed.
Take control of this.
Members,
Governor.
order. Can we have Senator Kavindu?
Governor, you cannot tell us openly you don't know. You are the CEO of Samburu County. Whatever happens in any of those organizations, you should be in control. And that is why we are questioning you and not the CECs. It is you who is responsible for that. I hope you'll work very closely with our team here before you bring that report to us. Because if you bring it back again, that way we'll send you back again.
Governor, Article 179 of the Constitution, it says the executive authority of the county is vested in the governor, assisted by his county executive committee. Now, when you tell us you are not aware and you have employed a county attorney, county attorney should be knowing this, should be advising you that you need to gazette this, you need to do this.
Chair, I wanted one request, Chair. You know, the big committee from the County Assembly of Samburu are also here. Maybe, if chair, to be fair, maybe you give the chair 1 minute to make a comment. At least he has, at least no, it's good. Yes, not the chair, at least it's good to give.
Honorable members, we have already made a decision, Kwamba. We have already made a decision that the county government of Samburu should go and redo the responses. And therefore, we will not open the debate again on the report. We will end there and adjourn until Monday at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Adjourn until Monday 8 a.m. Thank you very much, Governor. Safe journey back to Samburu.